Hi guys, welcome to my channel, Lighting Your Sunshine, where we like to shine a light within and empower ourselves. So no insights, no downloads, let's just hop in and see what wants to come out. So we're going to use the fairy blessing cards, and actually I did get, the only insight that I picked up is like when I was shuffling them and kind of like just making sure the energy was all clear, I got like really excited, I got really happy, and that's all I got. So I'm kind of excited to do the rest. Oh yeah, and the rest, we got divine guidance with numerology. So tons of synchronicities, numerology, signs and symbols in nature. So let's just shake it up and see what wants to come out. That one came out first, and that's a lot though. Is that correct? Okay, just let me see what this is trying to say. Okay, so as I shuffled it, I got this big stack that came through. Like 4 cards came. Hey, look, there's a heart. And, oh, maybe that kind of explains it. How that heart is different colors. Because then I've got this, okay, that's my first time seeing the colors. I felt like, because this is all I see, I got 2 fat stacks here, like 2 chunks, and I know that these chunks are a little bit relevant but not relevant. And then I have this one single card in the middle, and I get that this is like about bloodlines and mother, father, and then this one is like the heart, which like pumps the blood. So let's just keep those down, but we're gonna flip this one. That's you at the center. And so let's keep that one flipped, get rid of this stack. And as I said, get rid of this stack, this one card wanted to stay. So we're going to keep it. So we have so many cards out on the board right now. They're all upside down. The only thing that is clear is you standing in your energy. So when I focused at this, I did the numbers at the bottom. I added them up. It came to 10. I saw that as the completion, as you finished a cycle. And so when I look at this, I'm getting major star seed vibes. And so that would explain, right? You have your mother and your father. What's their lineage? That's what I'm getting, is like, I said star seed. So I'm getting that one parent is very cosmic. One of them is kind of like out of the stars. It's that very dreamy, bigger picture view of everything. There's a little bit of a detachment to it. I find a lot of star seeds are very detached, only because they kind of have that mysterious, starry-eyed, almost like an alien type energy. And then with the fairies, I'm getting that the other line must have been very earthly, like fairies and the elements, right? So something to do, there's a lot, wow, there's just something to do with blood. And okay, just 3, that should be good. And then how many fairy cards? Just 2, they say. Okay, hold on, just let me get all the cards out and then we can start blah 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 blah. Okay, where am I gonna put everything? Everything's just starting to get a little crowded up here. I wish I had like 2 cameras, but actually no, I like exactly the way things are. So we're gonna start over again. Here you are, that's you. You're a star seed. The thing with this star seed is you've reached the 10, you've reached the completion. So you're no longer a star seed, you're a star blossom. And so when it comes to these 2 lines with the mother and the father, I'm seeing that like it has to do with DNA and codes and like certain times and awakenings and activations, things like that. And there's the heart. We got a little tiny heart and it keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. And that's what I feel like. I feel like you're going through a transformation or a completion. You've gone through the transformation, they're already saying. So there was like probably a little bit of a time where things were a little bit up in the air. Things seemed a little bit fuzzy. So down here in the numerology cards that we have, I noticed the first thing is that they're very much red. I said that there's like this blood connection. This one was at the bottom of the deck that didn't want to come. This one kind of gives me vampire vibes. It looks like, when you look at it really close, like it's got like the teeth, like some lips with like the teeth there. And that kind of looks like the universe in it. So I see that, especially with health in reverse. Okay, so we have leadership with health in reverse. So this leadership is what I'm getting is your parents. So when you're younger, you kind of rely on them to help you just survive. Unlike most animals, we do need our parents to kind of teach us and help us get to that next thing, that next stage in life where we're finally capable and steady enough to stand on our own. And so that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing, because of the parents, I'm seeing parents be so diverse. One's from the stars, one's very earthly. So in you, it's like you have this beautiful duality. It's like you have this mix that not any people, they're trying to figure you out and they can't. Because it's almost like I see someone who's a very earthly person look at you and not understand the starseed side to you. And then there's someone who's a starseed who doesn't understand the earthly side to you. It's almost like, how can you be like heaven and hell wrapped up in the same bow? But that's just what fairies get. Fairies are kind of like the lower, denser energies, so they're kind of getting this bad rap. And so I do see that because the two parents and the mixing of this and the blood, it seems like at this time when there was a time for you to awaken and kind of step into the blossoming phase, your health took a hit. I'm seeing things be rough for a bit. I just feel like no matter what you did, they keep showing it like a plug. It's like there's a hole in the boat, and it's like the more and more you kept trying to do something, it's like it leaked. So there's something to do with like DNA, right? We tend to have like, our parents can pass down diseases or conditions, right? Like heart disease could be a thing in this. And that's what I'm seeing, is the two parents mixing and it having a hard time blending. So for a moment there, it was very touch and go, they say. But things are good now. Things are stable. Things have worked its way through. So my question, because I kind of saw two of this. I saw it as like your parents were that and you had that. And you had like a little health scare, a little blip of something. It may be like your blood pressure, maybe you kept passing out. I'm seeing blood pressure drop or something to do with blood for sure. And then I'm also seeing in another case that this isn't you, that you are of one area and your partner's of another, and you have a baby. And your baby seems to be going through this tough transitional phase. And this is a message from Spirit to say that everything's going to be okay. It's just the blending of the two energies. And the soul knows that it chose these two parents. And so it knows that this is like part of its journey. And it's more of peace of mind for you. So let's read what the fairy cards were that came out, because they're both in reverse. But I didn't tell you. They're standard cards. So I pulled up leadership. Then I pulled up health. So this is the past. Parents and leadership and like passing down everything they know, giving you their traits and their health and their knowledge and their wisdom. And then here you are. It seems to be like you just got through this or you're at the tail end of it. So if you find that you're in health in reverse, it's something that the worst is over. Or at least like, I'm hearing 88% of it's done, which is a very random number to be saying 88. But there was one more left. It was forgiveness. So after all of this, after you kind of integrate it, some of it has to do with our ancestors. And here you are taking something else and like building resilience to it. Because now you have that other side. So let's say the mother side deals with all this. Maybe it is heart disease, right? And I'm not a doctor. I don't know how like these kind of things work. This is just what I seem to be getting right now. So if you're having health problems, like definitely go to your doctor and take care of your own health. Don't just take random advice from someone. Deep down in your soul, you know what's best for you. And yeah, so I'm seeing like, you know, we have heart disease on this line of the family, but then meeting someone who they have ridiculously strong, healthy hearts, and those two coming together and it kind of like changing going forward. So like the forgiveness is like stopping that or healing that. I'm seeing purple. So I'm also seeing that mental health could be a part of this, right? Because we got the purple representing the crown, and crown is all about thoughts and that. And so it could be health of the mind, right? This family deals with this, but with the father's side, and like you really incorporating these two energies. It's almost like on the one side, well, we don't like that side, we don't like that energy, and then you being like, well, I'm both of them. I embrace both sides of me. It's kind of funny. I don't know why this is coming through, but I dated this guy, and his brother was like so extreme. Like obviously he has a mom and a dad, but on this one heritage, he was Greek, and he was like, so like Greeks are the best people in the world. Greek people are the best. Blah blah blah. Greece. But he was only like half Greek, and then on the other side he was like Irish or English or something, but he just hated that side. And I thought it was just like really funny, because how can you not really like embrace both sides? And so that's what I'm seeing in this, is like two sides coming together. So back to what I was trying to get to, we have forgiveness. So I see you working through a health something. I feel like it's either something physical health or mental health. Something to do with cleaning up and stopping cycles. And then you come to that and you get forgiveness, you get healing. And both of these cards are blue. So both of these cards kind of go with this one. And so the message is a blessing of belief. And this one is a blessing of the butterfly queen. As soon as I saw her, like I really liked her, this butterfly queen. I feel like there's so much to learn from this card. She's giving me Gelfling vibes. Okay, so that's from like the dark crystal. And in the dark crystal, it's like the Gelflings are the ones with the energy that are like the most potent or the most powerful. And so that's why the Skeksis like to kind of like take from them. But I see like, let's say, in one thing, that would be like the earthly beings. So the Gelflings would be the fairies of the world. This is the fairy cards. Okay, that's making sense. And then not only on top of that, right, like the Skeksis were like the, what's the word where they're both together? You are done or something. That's like the two sides, the light and the dark blended together. And they came from the stars. So it's almost like two of these energies, right? This one loves to take from this and feed off it. And that's what I'm seeing, like something with the health stopping. And so here we have forgiveness. It's like finding that balance between and learning to tap into your own source. I feel like something that used to affect many others in your bloodline, like doesn't affect you. Somewhere with you, it stops and it's a brand new cycle. So now they're bringing me to, I have still the mother card piled down, the father part. How many are in each one? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's so many cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know what this pile still is. The heart played the good part of this story, but okay. They're saying clear the board. Well, we can push them up. We're not going to clear them because I'm a person that likes to keep pulling them up as reference. But they're saying that these piles are the story of how the lineages met. So it's almost like you know how you play war and you like put it in the middle. So the defining card right now in this is the heart. So there is an instance where two extremely, completely opposite people met and fell in love. And so we'll say the left side is the mother's side and the father's side is the right side. It's opposite for you, but go with it. So here's what we got. It's like war. And as soon as I put that, I was like, as soon as I put that down, this one drew me to over here, where it was like that vampire-ish-esque kind of energy. And then here with the father side is like, when you look up real close, there's hearts in it. It's like solar plexus and it's hearts, and it's a very loving energy. It kind of goes with this love. And so these two energies are off on their own. Is there even hearts in this? I get that this could be a heart. It's really giving out more rose vibes, but I guess this could, we don't know really what kind of goes underneath here. But these all could be like ripples of roses. And so with this heart as the middle, it's like the blending or bringing, I'm hearing the word conjoining of the two. But that's what I see. I see like two energies out on the road, and they both are kind of on the vibe of hearts, but they don't mix and they don't blend well. And so this is like a huge shake. So that's what Spirit's showing, is like this initial meeting, it might have caused, like, I'm hearing fights within the family. I'm almost like they're saying like Romeo and Juliet, you know, how the two families just hated each other. And for those, it could have caused, you know, something like that. But what I'm getting is belief systems being way off, especially with this one, the blessing of belief. So there's a clash of something here. And with the butterfly queen, I'm noticing that the father's side is more of the yellow here. So let's see what the next layer is. Because first I just see them and they're intrigued. It's like these two energies drawn to each other, and it's like a magnet effect. It's like, I know this is like, I don't get toxicity from this. I get that the outside of this is toxic. It's like the vampire in this card is all the other people in the lineage. It might be like this person's, the grandparents and the aunts and the uncles and the things like that. Because the two, the mother and the father, obviously they're going to come together and blend their hearts and stop all this. They're going to create a new hybrid, is what I hear. So the next layer, here they come together, but now there's friction, there's chaos. What's the next layer to this story? Okay, so for the mother's side, it kind of went, whereas this is like a flower, that's kind of like a heart. By meeting this star seed energy, it really rocked their world. It really brought them new perception, and that perception really helped them blossom. It seems like in this one, it was very constricting. This one seemed to have like, I feel like a lot of their family members controlled what they wanted. And so it was always like, I just do what I'm told. I'm a good girl. And then by meeting this one seemed to be very balanced and all about love and like equal give and take and share. So it really helped them from a confined holding on to, I feel like there might have been lots of yelling and manipulation or something in that environment, to being able to blossom and open into this. And this card kind of is the foundation that allows you to really step into the star blossom. So as I said, I get maybe now, I'm getting that the father side is the elemental side. The father side is the fairy side with the elementals and the fairy queen. And I'm getting that the mother side is the star seed, the star blossom. And so I find that it was harder for the mom's line and lineage than the father, just because starseeds tend to have a hard time on their own. They already feel like outsiders in a world that they're not meant to be in. And it's a little bit true. Like, it's not that they're not meant to be here. They're meant to create the change. They're meant to be that energy that like wakes us up to end karmic problems and things like that. And so the father's line was all love and all these things, but it might have been stuck in prejudice or things like that, right? There's like a loop here and a loop here, and it doesn't really go outside that circle. And then the next card to come out for the father's side still kind of deals with that. It's still very balanced, but I'm finding now, see that the mother was influenced to blossom, and I'm seeing here that the father's energy has become more focused and direct, more on point. And I also heard that it kind of started spinning a little bit out of spiral, because a clash of beliefs have happened. And the starseed is like, I find that most starseeds have put themselves into families where they might seem to be the only one who thinks outside of the box, or maybe they're the only ones that seem to have the veil, like they're awake. I hate that woke talk and shit like that, but it just seems like they're the ones that try to see the bigger picture for all, rather than what's best for this tight, I don't know, do you know what I mean by this? Because that's what it is. And so the father's energy became very much, it used to be very focused on, I had full storage, so I don't know where I was at. All I remember saying is like love and light and playing, and then for this one, I feel like it started becoming like serious. It, like, as it said, spinning out of control. It was like, I need to focus on things more. I need to bring this a little bit more in balance and not play as much. And so from that, I feel like we're done with this one. We need to go into the next layer of what this relationship brought. So with the next layer comes this one. And this one always reminds me, if I tip it upside down, there's the rose, and with like the color, it's like the Beauty and the Beast rose in that glass case. I can't help but not see that every single time, and I try not to project, but right now I'm just seeing an angel with like rose energy, right? There's its head, its little like hands are like in prayer, and then it's got wings. So the mother's line is really what working on this like flowering, blossoming energy. The star seed is learning all about nature and things like that, and like how can it grow and expand upon this. Whereas the father's energy already is connected to energy, right? As above, so below. Like that's what the fairy realm is all about. And so they're now starting to work on like staying in balance, but it's gone from more play and working now more on like focus and like fixing things and solving things. Because here we have the mother, right? The mother's all about flowers, and then the father's all about circles and like, you know, that's what I see. So the next card to come out on the mother's side, we've got 33 in reverse, and then we have over on the father's side the 13. So I'm going to start, usually I start on the mother's side, but I'm going to start with the father's side first, because these two cards kind of have like similar colors, and that's what I feel like this has done. It worked on the heart once they kind of met them, and then they right there like the elemental, and they're very earthly. So I just see them being as like very fun, happy, charming people. They go out, right? Socialization. That just seemed to be like the majority of their energy. And then they met this like dreamy being from the stars, and it tapped into this whole new dreamy atmosphere of everything. And it made them have to go within and look deeper. So each of these circles is like, it's almost like I see them taking responsibilities more, where it was all social and things like that before. Now it was responsibility. But now this father side is like taking accountability of what is within me. How do I think? How do I feel? Because before it just seemed to be very much like party or love or play. And now it's like, who am I at the depth? Like really finding out, who am I? What is my purpose? And I'm hearing that's actually the biggest change. You think that the starseed changing, that the starseed team was it from a toxic family, and that they were there to like awaken and break bonds and change, and they keep growing and they keep opening up, and that was like the hugest feat. But to have this extra charming, extroverted, that's the word, to finally actually do some self-reflection, huge. That's even huger than someone who already is introverted to become extroverted. So that's a message from Spirit. That's like, congratulations. And so what am I seeing within this? I see this more as the purple standing out. And then I saw this as like a very long, elongated, like alien head. And I saw it as just like knowledge. So I saw the mother's side as more for them, their awakening and their transition, and the things that they seem to be like the cycles and karmic loops and patterns about opening up really has to do with like the mind. Whereas the father's side has to do with learning how to like really control and tap into the heart. And so think about that. If you have two people who have been working on that within themselves, that their main thing is to control their mind, their main thing is to learn about the heart, when they finally do come together and find this indifference between the two, I feel like that's you, or maybe that's you having your child. It just is like empowering the next generation, because you've mastered whatever it is of that and you can pass that on. Same with the other way. It's like pouring in, I see like 2 cups pouring into one and overflowing. And that's what I was always taught, is like you can't give from an empty cup. And if you have a full cup, like you keep that, that's you. And so I don't care if you call me selfish, but I don't want to deplete myself for your comfort. I'll only share the overflow. So if you have overflow and abundance, you can give that plenty. You just need to learn how to tap into that. And so the next cards to come out. Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh, look at that. So on the mother's side, okay, I'll just show you first what we got. And so the mother's side has all been working about blossoming in this flower and then really controlling the mind. So there's the purple within that. Whereas the father's side was all about learning to be balanced and learning to tap into the heart. And by finally doing that, by the mother's side focusing on the mind, the father's side focusing on the heart, it's like they finally shifted realities and understood and took on the roles of the other one, right? Like it's like, here's the mother's energy. Originally, it's this flower growing and changing and evolving. And here's the father's energy. Now it looks like nectar or pollen or honey or something like that. It's got a little bit of flower essence finally in it. Whereas the father's line started off with all about this being balanced, as above, so below kind of energy. It's still, even though it's kind of taken on the honey or the sweetness, the nectar of the flower, it still has that balance. It's kept itself and been able to incorporate the two within it. Whereas on the father's side, they focused on the heart. And then they're all about the as above, so below kind of thing. And so they were able to transfer that over to the mother's energy. And so they finally have this balanced earthly energy. And so it's like they still maintained their essence, right? Here in this one, it's got the green, and it's been really working on the mental. So now we take that green and that purple, and you got the balanced. So that's just really cool energy coming through. The next layer of this, because that's what I'm seeing they finally swapped. It's like, now that I've taught you what I know, I've taught you everything that I can teach. There's nothing I can do, but you let that person take your teachings, your lessons, and incorporate it into their own. So they uniquely made it their own. They're not replicas of you, but they are shining examples of what a strong foundation can build upon it. that there's variety to life. So the next layer to come up out of this story is number 40. I'm seeing it finally be equal, because it seemed like, especially on the earthly plane, we do need to have that balance. And it seemed like the masculine's family seemed to be all about sturdy and steady and have that foundation. The mother's side seemed to be very chaotic. And so now that both of them have, and they worked on their bonds, these ones seem to be a little bit superficial and stuck in old beliefs. Now that these two kind of come together and they kind of integrated and mixed and all those things, now they can build together, right? It's that as above, so below, kind of all that energy. And it's equal, and it's like building on top of each other. Yeah. So the 2 cards to come out to play on that. What are we building? This is what we got. So let me just kind of look into what that is about. Okay. When I look at this, I'm hearing it as communication. I see it as like a ridiculously super fancy rich person's phone. Like the phone is not even on this card. Like that's like the base, and this is like a handle, and then it's on the top. And so this one, to me, for communication, I'm seeing television. You know, that pattern back in the old days before a channel was ready to broadcast, they'd have like mainly like the stripes and things like that. So I'm seeing in the mother's line like television. So you know how they like transmit like particles through the air, and then it goes to that, and then it comes back and you see the picture. I'm seeing that's almost like how the mother's energy communicates. It's almost like a little bit of telepathy. Telepathy is totally what I'm picking up on. And maybe they tend to like things like maybe they're always on their phone scrolling or something like that. And then on the father's side, I saw green, and I saw so much heart energy, and I saw lots of nature. And so if this father side is the elemental side, like they talk to nature, and they talk more to spirit and things like that. They tend to need a lot more quiet time. So what I'm seeing is like, if this person loves technology, like they always got noise going on, they got gadgets and sounds and beeps, and it could be too much for the father side. Whereas this one needs a lot of alone time. It needs to go sit under with trees, with nature, right? Go sit in a meadow and just simply be. That seems to be how they communicate the best. And it's interesting because in the piles, the mother's pile has now run out. There's no more to it. So I feel like that's where the mother's healing adventure ends. It's blossom, it found that, and now it's tapped into its higher source, which is kind of like, if the star seeds tend to be a little bit more galactic, right? And you think about all these like star races, they've got such advanced technology, and that's what I kind of see. I see them, they tend to be maybe more spacey, daydreamy, as in meditation. I see them connecting more that way, right? The mother line's more mental. It's all about that, whereas the father's is like earthly and grounded. So I see these two as both ways that they escape, recharge, and come back together. And I feel like from this though, it's so diverse that there needs to be open communication between these two, because this one can deplete this one, and this one will also make the mother's line feel like they're neglecting me, they don't have time for me, I'm lonely, I'm not good enough, which is not true. But that's also a little bit from the upbringing, from their family. So I see the mother story stopping there. So let's go on and see what else is going to come out for the father. And there's 3 cards left, and we're going to pull all 3 at the same time. But the next layer or dynamic of this is we have 4. I I'm seeing just an amoeba. Oh, this isn't you. No, it's not. Okay. This is you. This is like once the families finally deal with all this healing and this growth, the mother's line keeps blossoming. They keep letting go of old toxic patterns, old things like that. They really learn to finally like feel that balanced within themselves. And what that balance is like, it almost is like now they're open. I see like a whole grid, and that grid is being connected to their higher selves. And now we're getting those calls from the ancestors. They're very much all about the mind and technology, whereas the father has really worked about the as above, so below balance, trying to break out of the beliefs, because a lot of them could be like, well, we don't like those people because this is how it always should be. You can't join our group. Very like that, and like really breaking out of those things, learning to go within the heart and be like, who am I? Like, why do I do what I do? And learning to think for themselves and not let the group mentality kind of control them. And by doing so, they come together and they build this communication tower. I feel like once they get to the top, it's like they pick up the phone, and then it's so funny. I picked up the imaginary phone and I put it to my ear, and then I heard Spirit say, "By George, they finally got it." And that coming together, that blending, well, this here just looks like a tiny egg, and that's you. And so the next 3 cards to come out, I was gonna say was like the fathers, but I guess it's like, yeah, the father is a little bit of in control because that's how the egg is fertilized. But these cards represent you. And so when I look at that. This is exactly the same type imagery that has been coming out. You're such a balanced individual, or your child is. I don't know who it is in the story, but there's this divine as above, so below, that even on the father's side, it was all about like the fairy realm to the earth, right? That kind of 3D. But this one I'm getting is even on a larger, more grander scale, right? We really need this grid to like open up and expand. So here you are coming from a family that, because they've both done the soul work, you've got this very balanced start. Oh my God, look at the next card. I'm not making shit up. And this one now is bringing me into this forgiveness. I feel like your family has gone through so much soul work before you were even born, or you've gone through so much soul work before your child's even born, that they get this blessing of belief. This blessing allows them to build that connection to source quicker than if they had to go through all the karmic lessons first, right? There's lots of times that we just have these things on a soul level that we really, really need to learn. And spirit, and I feel like this child energy coming in like this butterfly state, all fresh and free and just like vibrant, like in their queen, right? It's the butterfly queen. It's like I didn't even start off as student or page or knight. I went instantly to queen. And that's because the family has done so much soul work before they even thought of conceiving or starting this relationship. This relationship is from 2 people that I'm just seeing 2 sides clash and fight, and they never would have got along. But because 2 people loved each other and they were so determined, it really brought the sweetness and the nectar, and it brought forgiveness. So all those karmic lessons, the child didn't have to learn. And so when you look here, there is all that balanced message, but super zoomed up, there's flowers within that. It's like sweetness and nectar and balance and communication, and it's just really happy. It's just very sweet. Whereas I feel like this one's kind of intensity. So you've got this intensity to you, but you also have this super sweetness. But no matter what, that's what I feel like. Everyone, they just can't figure you out, because like I'm getting like, you're sweet and spicy. Are you good or are you bad? Are you this or are you that? And it's like, why do I have to pick? you're just you. And a lot of this is congratulations because of all the hard work that your parents went through to stop karmic cycles before you were even aware of them. So to wrap this all up, I feel like this is the perfect card to wrap it up. This is, each one's like a cycle and a lesson, and it goes back in on itself. This fractal could go on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And that's how things would have went if you didn't have parents who consciously chose to better themselves. And you know what I think is the hugest part of all this? Where did that card go? The main thing, I feel like, obviously, yes, it was hard for the mother's line because they seem to be in a toxic family where they seem to have lots of fights or doubt, or they got yelled at a lot, or they got controlled, and like, I feel like emotional manipulation. It just was tough for them. It was a mental thing for them, and for them to work on that mental escape, right? Breaking free from that was hard, right? But what I think is even harder is the father to go within the heart. For some reason, right? Because I feel like when you're getting treated like shit, you know you're getting treated like shit. So you're like, I deserve better. So I feel like the mother at one point has this moment of like, enough. I'm not going to take this anymore. But on the father's side, it was like, they were just like, they came from stability. And so they just seemed to be like, whatever, la, la, la. Like they just were irresponsible, and they didn't have to claim any responsibility. They didn't have to look at others or try to understand others. And so for them to actually go within themselves and listen to the heart, because the heart was like, well, I don't hate this side. I love this side. This side has something to teach me. And to actually go within the heart, I feel like that's huge. Because guys just, I don't know. I don't want to talk bad about guys. Guys are great, but I find they're not very connected to their hearts. And so for this story, I don't know, that's why I feel like that's the most exciting. I'm like, damn, did that really happen? And because of that, it ended this fractal. This cycle stops. I want to throw it, but I'm not going to. With you. And here you are. You're like in this sweet and spicy. You're like, people try to figure out. And it's so funny because you keep changing the game on people. They think that you're one way, but you end up saying something that like shocks them. They don't know how to take you. It's like, are you wearing a mask? Are you being two-faced? Are you all these things? So it's so hard for them to actually understand that you can be more than one thing at the same time. It's how you're raised. And you came from very good seeds, star seeds and the seeds of the earth. So with that, we'll leave it there, because it's for you to go out there and make the change. So with that, we'll leave it there. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.